Hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Double A Team Podcast. I'm your host, Stephen Nagishi. Thanks for joining us on this Sunday evening. A little earlier than our usual time slot today, but thank you. I'm sure a lot of people are still watching football at this hour, and we'll lead into that. We'll begin our show with that as well. As always, to my right on the screen, it is Associate Editor of Awful Announcing, Ken Fang himself. And Ken, thank you for joining me once again on this Sunday. And as promised, let's start off with the NFL Week 15 since we have a lot to talk about. And it's usually a pretty a rare occasion because we talk about each other's team, but it's for the first time in a while our favorite teams faced each other for the first time since I believe 2023 in that crazy final sequence against both Bears and the Browns in up in Cleveland. This time it's a normal AFC North showdown between two sides, Browns Bears. 31-3 the final between the Bears and the Browns, and Bears beat the Browns. Um, I think after what we witnessed last week against the Packers, coming up very very close in that which came down to the last play, fourth down, and with the Browns in between the Packers for the 20-day period. This was actually considered a trap game, and I'll tell you what. If this was any other coach outside of Ben Johnson, the Bears probably would have lost this game, or at least sweat it out to the very end. But this was actually for me, Bears. I didn't have too much to complain about from a whole perspective: offense, defense, special teams. It was a pretty good, well balanced win. The only thing that I had an issue with was toward the end of the halftime. Uh, Second and one. I believe this was next to last Bears position where they had second and one, and Ben Johnson chose to throw the ball twice and didn't get the first down, and then ended up having to give the ball back to Cleveland. And Cleveland, on their final position before halftime, basically went three and out, 15 seconds. And then the last position, again with under a minute, he tried to do a hook and ladder with 3 seconds to go, with basically letting the clock run all the way down. And Caleb Williams nearly hurt himself being hit on that play there. So other than that, everything pretty much went the Bears' way. I will say that the turning point of the game, Ken, I believe this was what? Maybe you could correct me. I don't know if you were watching around that time. First or second quarter. I believe it would be second quarter. No, it would be first quarter. Shedeur Sanders scrambled to get the first down, or at least what it looks to be, but his knee touched the ground first before the first down marker. And then on fourth and one, they punted it. And I think that's when I think a lot of people thought, oh, that's how it is. That's how it's going to be, and it turned out that way. Being a longtime Browns fan, your thoughts on the game? Was that turning point? And then how do you evaluate Shadeur's performance as of today, right now?
Well, to me, the turning point for me today, Stephen, was the coin flip when you won. When after the coin flip, when of course, actually, I'll say this: it was the opening kickoff when you had a very good kickoff and basically ran it all the way into Cleveland territory. After that, it was
Yeah.
all downhill. Cleveland didn't really do much. The only really highlights were a couple of good passes by Shedeur Sanders deep, and Myles Garrett getting
To
a couple
Isaiah
of
Bond, yeah,
sacks
that was a good one. Yeah.
yeah, to get it to closer to the sack record. He's now one away
Hmm.
from the sack record held by Michael Strahan. I'll be honest, Steven. I was disgusted by this game. I shut it off after the halftime. Right at halftime, I went up. We had a little bit of snow here in Rhode Island, so I went outside to dig out a little bit. I was thoroughly disgusted by this game. I didn't think Cleveland was going to win this game. I just didn't think that they would have a complete Um, I just didn't. They didn't get off the plane. They didn't get off the plane. They didn't show up. Um, they just didn't come into play against a team again. Uh, they just didn't come in, and Chicago thoroughly dominated them. And it goes to show that the two teams are headed in a total different trajectory. Chicago is on the way up. They're now sixth in the seated in the NFC playoffs. They're looking up. Meanwhile, Cleveland, I don't know where they're going. I have no idea. So, Kevin Stefanski is a dead man walking. He'll probably get fired at the end of the season. Meanwhile, you've got a great coach in Ben Johnson, who is very happy with his quarterback, who is very happy with what he sees. And that defense is a thoroughly dominating defense. At least they dominated Cleveland today. So, Cleveland just going to get any type of attack going, aside from those couple of passes by Shedeur Sanders. So, overall, Stephen, it's what I expected. I just didn't expect to shut the game off that early. But again, I had to do something outside to dig out from the snow, so it allowed me to do that. And overall, hats off to you to the Bears, because after last week's loss to the Packers, they needed to get well. They needed a game like that to get them ready for this Saturday's game, which will be in prime time on Fox. I think it's going to be 8:20, I believe. So, right now already Fox is really promoting that as a big time, another because they have they always say they're 4:25 Eastern time, 3:25 in Central time is America's Game of the Week. They're calling that another edition of the America's Game of the Week, and they have a standalone game. And while college football playoff will be playing earlier in that afternoon on December 20th. They're going to have pretty much in the NFL, and you have two traditional rivals who played probably the oldest rivalry in the NFL. And they're going to be playing for something. It's going to be for the NFC North, so it's going to be fun to them, and they're likely going to have Kevin Burkhardt and Tom Brady there, Stephen, and it's going to be in Chicago this time. So, and a chance, and as I mentioned, we've said this I said this in the past. You hold serve, just hold serve. You know that Green Bay was going to win most likely over at Lambeau. You hold serve at Soldier Field and beat the teams you're supposed to beat, and you could get the division again. So we'll see what happens. I know Green Bay is on top right now, and right now they're playing Denver, and I believe they're atop Denver right now, although Jordan Love, I believe, just threw an interception. So we'll see what happens here. And, if Green Bay.
Really?
Yeah. So Jordan Love just threw a really bad interception to Denver.
Yeah.
He also got hit right as he threw the ball. But overall, with Green Bay leading 23-14 at Denver, and Chicago beating my Browns today, I think here's a chance for Chicago to come back and get back on top of the division.
Yeah, I'm looking at the pick on Red Zone right now. Great pick. Christian Watson looks like landed awkwardly, and he looks hurt there too. He is still on the ground as we speak. I don't know if somebody rolled up or got hit in the head or something like that as soon as the pick was happening. But yeah, this is a huge game. If the Denver Broncos somehow, they're known to score a lot of points in the fourth quarter, pretty much most of the season. Yep. Hopefully, if that is indeed true and holding up, I know it's 23-14 Packers right now. Let's see if this interception is going to make any huge difference in this outcome. But if Christian Watson is out, and he's had some serious history of injuries in the past, it is going to be a huge miss, or at least a bad news for the Green Bay Packers. So I wanted to play a clip because there was one point during the game, I believe it was mentioned. I know Cleveland started like 3 penalties on their first drive, or even also in their 4 offensive penalties in the two drives or something. And then they mentioned something about Shedeur Sanders' wristband, which does have a play. and it was an incomplete miscommunications, obviously timeouts, and then also false starts and all kinds of stuff. It was apparently apparently maybe he had a wrong wristband with the plays on it, and it's kind of an interesting scenario the discussion. I'm going to play a clip here. Let's see. Hold on a second, because it does it make sense or not? Let's see. What Kevin Stefanski's explanation on this one. Just 1 second. Here we go. And this is it. Can you see it?
Yeah, it's coming
Here
up.
We go.
Go ahead.
Yeah, there was a miscommunication.
Sorry, it's not loud enough for my.
I got it's playing. I can hear it.
Wristband on the first 2 drives. Is that accurate?
No. Yeah. There was something. I don't know if the wristband got something on it or whatever it was.
Was there something wrong with Sanders' wristband?
Yeah, there was a miscommunication.
Did you hear it?
Early.
It's playing.
The wrong plays in the wristband on the first 2 drives.
You know what? It's because I have a microphone
there was
attached to it.
I don't
know. Maybe I'm unable to hear it.
Yeah, go ahead and play it again. I can hear it. Yeah, go ahead and play it again. Yeah, play it again. Go ahead.
My apologies there. In the meantime, this doesn't really, unable to, how do I say?
It doesn't
it's
look
funny about the whole. Yeah. It really doesn't defeat the accusations that I guess Stefanski was unable to the sabotage stuff. I should say the sabotage stuff. You know what? I got a better one here. This is a 92.3 The Fan in Cleveland. Here's the clip. I should be able to share this one. My apologies here. Here we go. Hopefully, let's hear this one. Let me know if you can hear it, Ken.
Yeah, go ahead.
Here you go. I'm playing it now. So from the very beginning.
Sanders' wristband.
Yeah, there was a miscommunication early.
It's fine.
That you guys had the wrong
this one?
plays in the wristband on the first 2 drives. Is
that
accurate?
No.
Oh.
Yeah. There was something. I don't know if the wristband got something on it or whatever it was, but there was we got that fixed pretty quickly.
You hear it?
Yeah.
Okay. Give me your thoughts. Give me your thoughts. What were your thoughts on this one? And what do you think about his explanation on this whole wristband stuff?
Well, first of all, that's bad communication. That's you can't allow. First of all, why is he having last week's wristband? Why? And
Exactly.
That's just silly. You got to check these things, and that's on the coach. That's on the offensive coaches. They got to check this, and you just can't say here's a wristband. And it made sense why, because I was saying, why the heck is going on here? Why are we getting delay of games? Why are we having false starts? You just can't allow that to happen, and that's on the coaches. It's not on Shedeur. You got the coaches are the ones responsible to say here are the plays, and we all know that the first 10 plays or 5 plays are all scripted. They're the ones that and that's why usually a lot of times the first drive looks so good because the plays are scripted. And then after that, the teams adjust. I think you just got a touchdown with Denver. Sutton just made a catch. Bo Nix did a touchdown.
I did see it. Yeah. Incredible diving catch.
Yeah, Courtney Sutton makes the catch. So it's right now Denver, which is right now in the third quarter, with pending the extra point. Now, please don't go for 2. You don't have to go for 2. Go for the extra point. You get down by 2 points. It'll be 23 right now, 23-20. All you need to do is just kick the extra point, make it 23-21. I also have a quad. Not in addition to Red Zone on one of my TVs, I have the quad box here from YouTube TV. So right now Denver is going to go for the extra point, and it is good. So it's 23-21. It's a 1 possession game. right now, and thanks to Jordan Love's throwing, he does this every game. He throws well, that's not really his fault because, well, actually, he underthrew the ball. It was intercepted, and now we have a game in Denver going into the fourth quarter. It's going to be a lot of fun. So, in the meantime, as I was talking, it's really inexcusable for the Cleveland coaches to allow Shadur Sanders to go out with the wrong wristband. And he's calling out the plays, he's calling out the signals. Meanwhile, everybody is not on the right page. And then they just basically took it away, and they just basically radioed the plays in for him through his helmet. Stupid, very stupid. That is just a disorganization by the Cleveland coaching staff. And I'm not going to say people are going to get fired over this, but it just goes to show again, Kevin Stefanski's not totally on the same page with his quarterback. And I'm just, again, it was, I mean, was this the difference in the game? No, because Cleveland didn't have a shot in this game whatsoever. But still, you're not allowing your quarterback to succeed when you do that.
Absolutely. And as you can see also today in the big development, the Kansas City Chiefs are officially eliminated from the playoffs as they lost to the San Diego Chargers. But the big news, of course, is that late in the game, Patrick Mahomes suffers a leg injury. We don't know the severity of it. They're going to get the MRI done hopefully by tonight or maybe early tomorrow morning to get the extent of it. Okay, thanks for the update. I feel like that injury kind of like was like a foreshadow of, how the game was going to end, which was Gardner Minshew coming into the game through a bad pick that sealed a victory. I think now it's safe to say that the Chiefs, the domination of the AFC is over. I think even with the NFC side, I think NFL is as wide open this year as ever, and it's been punctuated with the Chiefs getting eliminated at 6-8 now, and we might have talked about this a couple of weeks ago, Ken. The Chiefs' era officially being over. I don't know if it's fair or not, but the future of Andy Reid could come into play because look, I mean, Mahomes is not a declining player, but the rest of the roster is just not well constructed overall,
right?
And so this is going to test Andy Reid's mettle. Does he want to leave while his legacy is still very much intact, or does he stick around and have a bad season like he did in his final season in Philadelphia? It's a tough decision for any champion, whether you're a player or a coach, to leave the game while your legacy is still very much intact.
Well, Andy Reid didn't get stupid in 1 year. We know that because what he did after Philadelphia, he was able to construct a team. Now, do we at a point where maybe players stop listening to you and wear out your welcome? That's possible, but I don't think that he's done that in Kansas City. I do think that perhaps Travis Kelce stayed 1 year too long. But I also think at the same time, Kansas City's got to, realize that, they've got to they need, first of all, their offensive line got to get better.
Yes.
You just can't depend on Chris Jones. You can only go so far.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think that probably Andy Reid will probably try to do at least another season because he doesn't want to go out this way. He's a Hall of Fame coach. There's no doubt about that. He's won multiple Super Bowls in Kansas City. He took Philadelphia to Super Bowl under his watch. He's a winner, and he's a guy that is definitely going to be. He's going to go to the Hall of Fame. We all know this. That's right.
That's his legacy is not going to be tarnished, no matter what happens this year or next year, too. So,
right. So I think that we're going to see probably Andy Reid come back for another season, and hopefully to see the Kansas City Chiefs. I think they needed this. Sometimes you need. Now, The Patriots also had a couple of seasons where they were down. They didn't get
Yeah.
to every Super Bowl. Remember, they had a good area when they won 3 Super Bowls out of 5 seasons. Then they stopped going to the Super Bowl. Of course, they tried to do the perfect season, and then they went downhill. But then they went back to winning 3 out of 4 Super Bowls again under the Tom Brady era and Bill Belichick era. So you have to find a way to reload, and I think this is going to be something for Kansas City and the Hunt family to find a way to reload. And sometimes you need a reassessment. We know that Travis Kelce, he's not going to come back. There's no doubt about that. He wants to marry, Taylor Swift, and they'll have a lot of fun. And they're going to get married in Rhode Island, which, by the way, that'll be a positive thing in Rhode Island. Of course, he had something negative yesterday, which we'll mention later at the end of the show. But overall, I just think Kansas City, they're going to find a way to reload, and then eventually they'll be back. I don't think this is going to be a precipitous fall like the San Francisco 49ers after the Steve Young era, where they had a really long fall into a chasm until they were able to come back. But I think right now, Kansas City, they'll find a way to reload. I don't think this is going to be a long fall. I don't think this is going to be a hard fall for them. I think they'll find a way to come back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is going to test, without a doubt, the Brett Beach, who's done a very good job constructing, but the draft the last few years has been somewhat of a question mark, which is something, which is why it's kind of, why it's caught up to them, unfortunately. It's going to be very interesting how they, allocate the roster moving forward. Somebody said the other day, I think, the Chiefs are still kind of trying to recreate the offense when they were so explosive under Tyreek Hill, right? That the smallish jitterbug type receivers.
Right.
They're trying to recreate that, and there aren't many good pass catchers on that roster. Ever since maybe Tyreek Hill left, maybe Rashee Rice, but his career kind of been derailed because of that crazy car accidents that he caused in Dallas. Xavier Worthy is a very fast guy, but he's still, I don't know, not somebody that you could be like, yeah, that's a number 1 receiver in his second year as of right now. So and then Travis Kelce, outside of him, who's going to be the tight end. So that's you might have to start thinking about his future as well. If you're if you're the Chiefs, So there are some serious question marks, and it does start with the offensive line. Trey Smith re-signed, but he's kind of out of the action. The left tackle has been kind of a revolving board. Josh Simmons, who was drafted in the first round out of Ohio State, looks like a good player, but he had to miss several games. Excuse me, recently, due to a personal / family reasons. He just came back, but he's still a rookie that needs a lot of seasoning. And as a Bears fan who had to witness a lot of bad offensive line last year until they finally addressed it in the offseason with, Joe Thuney, Chris Dahlman, and Jonah Jackson, I'm a big believer in having a solid offensive line, which is why, both, ironically, Chiefs and the Eagles are struggling this year, both being a Super Bowl champion and a runner-up in February. And now they're struggling because the offensive line has not been able to hold up, while the Bears are thriving under Ben Johnson after they finally fixed the offensive line. So it's going to be a very interesting offseason for the Kansas City Chiefs. But first, we have to find out how serious of an injury is Patrick Mahomes, moving forward. The other game, of course, that's in action, the Colts and the Seahawks, and of course the big story, Ken. It is the return of 44-year-old Philip Rivers, and it kind of brings back a lot of opinions on people. The Colts had a promising start that got derailed by injuries. Daniel Jones is out with the ACL injury. Now they have to rely on 44-year-old Grandpa Philip Rivers. It's a appropriate title. No not no slander towards anybody who's a
Oh,
grandpa or anything. It just I think it's funny that they think that 44-year-old Philip Rivers is much better than what they have, which is, I guess, a huge indictment on how they kind of treated the backup quarterback situation in Indianapolis, or as well as the entire NFL landscape on how they
well,
suck at developing
let's
quarterbacks.
just put it this way. Indy is leading, right? I think, yeah, they're leading right now. So, the joke is on us. Well, Seattle's defense still. First of all, credit to Indianapolis defense. They've held Seattle's to 9 points, and I think Seattle is up 13-9. So the joke is on us. If they can, and granted, Philip Rivers' first passes were wounded ducks, but as he's getting along, and he knows the system because he said, as we've been reported, is that Indianapolis's offensive system is something that Philip Rivers is using as a coach in high school. So they felt that, hey, if he knows the system, there's no reason to get somebody else who doesn't know and has to come in pretty cold. So right now, Seattle is trying to drive. They're on the 10-yard line, but Indianapolis is up 13-9. So that's kind of interesting, Steven. So we'll see if Seattle is right now. It's still a full quarter to go, but Indianapolis is up 13-9, and if he wins this, what a story it's going to be. What a story, and Indianapolis could be back in contention in the AFC South, even though, of course, Jacksonville had to play the New York Jets today, which the Jags managed to beat the Jets like a drum. So hats off to I still don't think that Trevor Lawrence is a good quarterback, but maybe he'll prove me wrong. But right now, as it stands, Indianapolis, and if Philip Rivers can pull this off, we're going to be talking about this all week. It's going to be fairly funny.
And then the other game that I'd like to discuss, not the game itself, but the first of all, the Ravens blanked the Bengals. Bengals are officially eliminated from the playoffs. Joe Burrow this week made some
Yeah, he got pretty dark.
Yeah, he was pretty solemn. Excuse me. What happened in his weekly press conference after the Buffalo game, where he was lights out and was really, really good. And then leading up to the how do I say this week's game, Burrow kind of sounded unhappy, and he was actually really, really despondent about his future, which kind of elicited talks of him being maybe the next pulling off on Andrew Luck, or ironically another former Bengal QB, Carson Palmer, who was always at an odds with the front office and the management, and forced himself to be traded to, I believe, the what was then Oakland Raiders in the middle of the season back in 2011. I like to remember. Right. I don't have a clip of that video, but I'm sure you're probably. What was that?
Yeah, I heard them talk about it with Dan Patrick today, during this week. I feel sorry for Dan. I mean, as much as I hate the Bengals, I've always respected Joe Burrow. Okay, Burrow is a great quarterback. He's had injuries. That offensive line is just horrible. And he came back from a turf toe injury, which he really didn't have to, but he gives Cincinnati hope. But I have to say that, again, the Bengals have been notoriously cheap. They don't spend on players. They'll spend on one player, but then neglect another part of the team, like the defense and the offensive line. And that's why Joe Burrow's been hurt. He's been getting hurt, and he said he wasn't having fun anymore. He was looking at his future, and I don't blame him for this, because. And people forget of what happened to Andrew Luck. He and everyone knows that he said, "Oh, he quit in the middle of the preseason." Well, yeah, he did, but because he didn't want to go out there and keep getting hurt. and I don't blame him. You want to have all your faculties, even though you're playing as a young man, you still got to live your life. And Andrew Luck was worried about concussions and what he was going to be looking like in the future. And right now he has a job as a general manager of the Stanford football program. So hats off to him. But Joe Burrow, he's thinking about his future. He's thinking about, can I do this? Should I be doing this? Should I be doing this with this franchise? So I don't blame him. I don't blame him because, again, the Cincinnati Bengals front office has been notoriously for not investing in its players. They don't. It's something that is frustrating to their fans. It's frustrating to players. So I don't blame him for saying, I'm not having fun anymore. I got to think about my future. And if I got to leave, I know he's got a good contract, but everyone says, hey, I can't really blame him for thinking about what he's got coming up next because, his body, he's a 29-year-old man, but his body is probably 40, 45, Stephen, of all the injuries he's had. So I cannot say that he's doing the wrong thing. He's absolutely right for thinking about what he's going to be like in the future, and can he do this, and how long can he do this? Because I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I'm not going to predict. I'm not going to say what he's going to do, but the fact is that he's already in the middle, late in the season, thinking about what his future is. If you're thinking about getting hurt, maybe this isn't for you. So, and I don't blame Joe Burrow for thinking that way because here's a guy 5 years ago thinking we're going to be going to Super Bowls. They went to a Super Bowl. They had a great opportunity.
They came close.
They came very close, and they should have. And I thought they should have won. But you know what? I just think about this whole thing, Stephen, and the window. He's probably also looking at that window with the Bengals. He goes, look, we got to a Super Bowl. I thought it was going to be easy. It's not. How can we get back there? And how can we get back there with this team right now as it's constituted? I wouldn't blame him if he's thinking about what his future is going to be because, the man is getting hurt every year. And it's unfortunate to see because he's a great talent.
Oh, without question. Your boss, Ben Koo from the Awful Announcing on his Twitter, talking about Bengals didn't remove the snow for seats today, which is apparent violation of the league policy, and he went off on Mike Brown, who is the owner and the son of the late Paul Brown, the Hall of Famer. Yeah, and I will add about Joe Burrow for this one. Joe Burrow this offseason was very vocal about wanting to keep Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. And he successfully lobbied for it. And then he was also advocating for a long-term contract extension for Trey Hendrickson, which unfortunately did not happen. And more than likely, he may have played his final game with the Cincinnati Bengals this year because he's out extensively with the hip flexor or hip injury. That's must be very, very painful for a veteran like Hendrickson. And he's actually an Ohio native near Cincinnati, and he's a native son in a pride and joy. He went to Ohio State, couldn't get playing time behind Dwayne Haskins and among others. That was very deep at quarterback. So he went to LSU his first season. What was that? Wow. Oh, I apologize. Michael Parsons is grabbing his leg right now.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He's really bad.
He's a prideful son. He loves playing for the Bengals because he's from nearby area, and he wants to be. He wants to bring championships to his home state. Hometown team, and it's sad that. You give everything that you got, and you try to come back with an injury, and in return, a terrible ownership that is known as the Mike Brown and the Bengals just cannot do anything, or they've more than likely failed on many occasions, angering many current and former players for their cheapness. And I'm afraid that, I'm not a betting man, but I wouldn't mind. I probably wouldn't be shocked to see if Joe would like explore trade options, or like maybe demand, you know what, would you mind trading me? I think I've done enough here in Cincinnati, and I need a new change of scenery. I need a new motivation in life like that.
I wouldn't blame him. I really wouldn't, Steven. I hate to say it. I mean, like I said, I'm not a big fan of the Bengals just because of the rivalry with the Browns. But I feel for players like this, because Mike Brown has notoriously done this, and you lead to fan apathy. And if fans love players who adopt the community, which Joe Burrow has done. They love a guy who wants to win, which Joe Burrow does. And to be honest with you, here's a guy who really should be in the prime of his career and should be leading his team to, the top of the division. But, we're not seeing that. And I hate to say that, but I think the window is closing in Cincinnati right now. And I really do, under this current as it currently stands. And I wouldn't be surprised to see if, as you mentioned, Joe Burrow says, hey, look, I'm fed up. I can't deal with this anymore. So I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's keep an eye out on the rest of the league as we go along. But let's move on to the next subject, Ken. College football. Really, first of all, before we begin, I want to give a huge shout out to Lon Phillips Sullivan from LSU Dynasty yesterday. We had a great conversation talking LSU and the current state of college football. Really great conversation with him. We didn't dive into the news, the huge bombshell that happened this week. Michigan head coach Sharon Moore fired for cause and also arrested. And it was shocking, Ken. Listen, I live out here in Michigan, and this was like a massive bombshell. Like if Tariq Skubal had been traded on the same day as Sharon Moore was fired and also arrested, I think the Tariq Skubal news would have taken a back seat. That's how big it was here locally on the news, like 4, 5, 6, and 11. 10 or 11 Eastern, depending on what channel it is. And
yeah, football
just feels.
No, go ahead, Steven.
I apologize, Ken. Go ahead. No,
yeah,
it's just so bizarre.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it really is.
Okay, sorry, there's a bit of a lag between us. Let me just say, it is so bizarre, and it's just shocking. I'm still trying to process, what Sharon Moore did, and then the fact that he got arrested for trespassing, or at least breaking into allegedly the woman that he was having affairs with, an executive assistant. He fired her. She told him about Michigan to the Michigan office, and then Moore got fired, and Moore was angry enough to sneak into her house, grab a butter knife, and try to threaten to kill her and himself, and so forth. So the whole thing, it was just crazy. So Ken, I'm going to give your thoughts on the whole bizarre situation. And this isn't the first time, of course, we've seen college football or college basketball or even pro sports coaches have, what do you call it, the inappropriate relationships, or have issues off the field. But this seems like really like a one for the, like an all-timer. What do you think?
Well, it's bizarre. It really is. Sharon Moore looked like he had the world at his oyster. He beat Ohio State coming in after after Jim Harbaugh left. He beat Michigan. He beat Ohio State a couple times, and then now here and he lost, of course, this season. But still, he had a pretty respectable program. It wasn't the best. It wasn't the upper echelon because Ohio State is Ohio State right now. But he had some good kids coming in for next class, Stephen. But this is just a bizarre story to begin with. It's now coming out that here he has young kids at home, and Denver just scored. So Denver just scored a touchdown. So they now go ahead of Green Bay. It's still in the third quarter. So there's a lot of time here left, Stephen. And at the end of the third quarter, Denver just scored. So they go ahead 27-23. But let's continue. Michigan football, and you live in Michigan, so you know how big the program is. Right. And it's like it's almost a 24/7 cycle knowing on what Michigan football is. But just to see this, it's just totally bizarre, Stephen. I mean, Sherrone Moore has young kids at home. He has twin daughters, 1-year-old. Looked like he had something big at home. But then we hear stories is that, this affair with this executive assistant, also reaching out to OnlyFans models. It's just a bizarre situation. I don't know what his home situation is like, but he is now gone from the highest of highs, coaching one of the greatest programs in college football history, to being arraigned in court this week and just seeing him in a prison jumpsuit. His career's over. There's obviously no doubt about that. I'm sure his home life is in shambles, but also too, you have children. You have young children. So I don't know what he's thinking. I don't know why he did it. What he was, I can't even begin to think about what happened there, Stephen. So I would hope that he was, maybe he'll find a redemption somehow in prison, but it's a misdemeanor and also a couple of things. So I don't know how long. I don't profess to be a lawyer or legal expert. I don't know how long he would be in prison for. If he's going to be charged with attempted murder. I don't know what the charges are, but I feel for his wife and his children, because they're dragged down into this, and they're not they're innocent in this. But hopefully they can survive this, and they'll find a way to survive it and be strong from it and be stronger, because those kids are going to have to go to therapy. There's no doubt, Stephen. I hate to say this, and Sherrone Moore he had a good situation. You really don't know how good you have it until it's gone. And now he's in the lowest. He was in the highest of highs, Stephen. Now he's at the lowest of lows. And I don't know how he gets out of this. I don't think he can.
No. And Michigan football is going to be in terrible shape. First of all, no matter who hires, fans aren't going to be satisfied with it. Especially when you hire somebody that has probably no Michigan ties, and you've hired a lot of the guys like that with Rich Rodriguez and John Hoke, among others, and it was just not the same, of course.
And the thing is, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead, Ken.
And the thing is that I know you like this. There's this thing that about Bo Schembechler about hiring a Michigan man, but it's like, how long did Michigan know about this? Apparently, they investigated this earlier in the season,
and apparently they knew. Some of them, they really knew about this, from what I'm told.
They knew, and that's from what we understand. They were talking to Kalen DeBoer in Alabama for 2 weeks, so they've known about this. So I don't know if they'll be able to get Kalen DeBoer, because why would he want to go from a good situation in Alabama to Michigan, which is right now it's right now a dumpster fire. So I don't know if he'll want to do that. But hey, money talks always situation, Stephen. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know who's going to be hired. Kalen DeBoer's a popular name. I know that He's got to be busy preparing for the upcoming game against Oklahoma in the playoffs. But Nick Saban set the program so high, it's difficult for anybody that was coming after to replicate that success, especially in this day and age of transfer portals and the NIL. And so, whoever comes in, it's going to be very difficult. And I understand if DeBoer is like, I can get another clean start in Michigan without having to deal with the pressure of following Nick Saban. At least I'm stepping in for Sharon Moore, a disgraced coach, which obviously, I'm not going to say coaches are, held in, sanctity or anything like that. But, coaches are humans too. They do stupid stuff, on and off the field, unfortunately. So, yeah, it's going to be very, very difficult. Whoever hires, whoever is the new next head coach, they're going to have to focus on keeping former number one high school quarterback Bryce Underwood, who is from locally. He originally went to LSU, and we delved. I had this conversation with Lon Phillips Sullivan yesterday about maybe prying Underwood again a year later, given the disaster that is happening in Michigan. So, it will be very interesting to see who they hire and can they convince Bryce Underwood. That would be the ultimate goal. Whatever happens in 2026, wins and losses, that probably becomes kind of like a secondary, because Michigan has to rehab their image. And the athletic director, Ward Manuel, I don't know how many chances he's going to get. I think this might have to be like his death sentence, or others see it that it's not his fault. Obviously, for Moore's is a transgression off the field. But yeah, with Jim Harbaugh's Connor Stallions and now this, it's going to be a very interesting situation at Michigan and how they handle the future of their athletic director, who's probably has to answer some tough questions about his knowledge of the situation involving an executive assistant with Sharon Moore. All right, Ken, let's move on to the next subject. We didn't get to the meat of things last week with the World Cup because we were so damn focused on the abhorrent drawing that took forever. And the biggest the problems that now many fans are starting to find out, of course, is the ticket pricing, and it's understandable. It's expensive. It's a huge problem. Most people in the world are just so flabbergasted. The football associations across the globe probably are trying to, talk to FIFA about it, but I have a hard time believing FIFA is going to change their minds ever since they've decided to glaze and make bed with Donald Trump over this. And then now you have a U.S. government trying to force foreign tourists to submit 5-year record of their social media handlings, etc., which makes it even more a less than ideal destination for many foreign fans to, come to the U.S. In about 6 months from now. I want your thoughts on this, the ticket pricing, and then just how bad this whole situation is with the FIFA and the price gouging.
Well, I don't know what FIFA is looking at here. I mean, again, I can make the analogy with TKO and wrestling prices because they are astronomically high as well. Who are you asking to come? Are you asking billionaires to come? Who are you asking? Because, it's the fans that make your sport. And if you price them out, who's going to come? The fact is that right now the United States has a very, I don't want to say draconian, but a very different immigration policy now. It's difficult to get a visa to come in here. The United States has imposed all these rules, They're trying to say, hey, if you come for the World Cup, we'll put you in a new pool to try and get a visa to come here. But even that is going to be difficult to come here. If you're coming from the UK, if you're coming from Spain, if you're coming from Australia and want to see your team in the World Cup, it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be difficult to get a visa. It's expensive. The process is probably going to get bogged down. So I don't know, Stephen. It's going to be very bizarre. And again, trying to price so that a certain type of fan can come in, is that going to work for you? I don't know, because I was interested in going to see some games over in Foxborough. There's some good games that are going to be coming over there, and I don't know. I'm looking at the prices. I'm saying, oh my God, it's like I need 3 weeks salary to buy some of those prices, especially even if you're going and knowing Gillette Stadium as I do, even if you want to go not necessarily in the lower bowl, but if you want to go into upper levels, even those are priced out. So they're very, very high. And again, who are you marketing this for? Because, you want fans to come in to see your games, but at the same time, I know that you want to have some of the premium seats be bought by a certain type of clientele, but you're going to find that I'm not going to say empty stadiums, because the World Cup is the World Cup. They're always going to find people who want to go, but this is going to be really bizarre because the United States with this type of administration and the rules for immigration, I don't know who's going to come. I really don't. It's going to be really bizarre.
It is. It's unfortunate. Anybody willing to risk coming here from overseas, you might want to basically, have the will ready transferred, or maybe have thoughts and prayers. I'm not trying to be funny or joking. Neither one of us are, and it's a sad situation because, I'm about to show you the. A quick, let's look at this. This explanation from Matthew Iglesias, which is a hot take political dude. Hot take: World Cup tickets are expensive because the United States is a very rich country with a very large population, so the demand for ticket is high. No, that's not a good reason for tickets to be like $5,000 or $1,000 for mid-level bowl. It's not supposed to be. The soccer historically was a game for not for the wealthy people, working class soccer. And then in South America, that's like the way out of a poverty in places like Brazil in particular, which is why you have so many terrific players that have come out of that country for many years. But let's just say, for example, I'm going to show you the screen for the group seatings, folks. Like, let's say, for example, Capo Verde and Saudi Arabia in Group H, Morocco, Haiti, Algeria, Austria, Curacao, Ivory Coast. And I'm not trying to, point a finger at any specific country in particular. Iran, New Zealand. I highly doubt that there's going to be a massive demand for tickets, even here in America, for example. Unfortunately, because of the reasons what we discussed. What do you think?
And I think some of those countries are also on a banned list too. So Haiti is.
I think Iran is because I think Trump has identified one of the terrorist groups, and I believe one of the players from Inter, who is an Iranian national, happens to be a former member, so he might not be able to go. Apparently, so that's what I'm hearing.
Right. Yeah, and some team and the whole thing too. You have to worry about some of the players. Will they be able to come in? So it's just bizarre. It really is, and then we can also discuss the Olympics down the road too. But this is going to be a bizarre World Cup. It's going to be really strange. Will fans be able to walk around and be able to walk freely. That's the thing, because we have ICE agents all over the place. So I don't know, Stephen. It's going to be really difficult for a lot of fans from foreign countries to come in, and maybe perhaps even because we've seen immigrants and visitors and tourists be arrested for no reason. So I don't know. It's going to be, next year is going to be a very bizarre scene here in the United States starting next June. But I really hope that we can enjoy the event. It didn't, as we mentioned, it didn't get off to a good start last week with the draw. But I just want to talk about soccer.
Exactly.
Even with the bizarre situation in Qatar, 4 years ago, Stephen, it turned out to be one of the best World Cups we've ever seen. So I'm hoping we'll have the same situation, that maybe we'll just, after all this, we'll be able to focus on the soccer. But right now, we're talking about other things. And interestingly enough, for the 2031 Women's World Cup, there are a lot of cities who want to host, but they're not happy with FIFA's conditions. So they're not signing a long-term agreement with them. They're signing a short-term. And usually when you sign a contract with FIFA or the IOC, you have to meet certain conditions. And right now, 10 cities which want to be a host for the Women's World Cup say they don't want to meet those conditions, because FIFA is basically either they're gaslighting them or they're blackmailing them to force them to go into these conditions. So that'll be something to watch for the Women's World Cup. But right now, with all these host cities in the United States, like Foxborough, Philadelphia, we've got, all other cities as well: Atlanta, Miami, Los Angeles, Dallas, and of course the other cities in Canada as well, with Toronto and Vancouver. And of course we have, I think it's Guadalajara. Is Guadalajara city that's one of the ones in Mexico? I know Mexico City has Azteca Stadium.
They are. Yes, they are. Yes.
Yeah. So, I'm sure Canada and Mexico are going to be fine, but it's going to be the ones that are the United States. That's something to keep an eye on. And we'll have to keep an eye on here on what's going on there, because looks like, I hate to say differently, but Puka Nakua got hit hard, or he fell. I don't know. I can't really say. He fell down to the turf. I don't know if he's hurt or not, but we'll see. We'll keep an eye on what's going on. Star receiver for the Los Angeles Rams, a guy that's Matthew Stafford relies on a lot, but I hope he's okay. He just fell to the turf and looked like he was hurt. So we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah, I think he got hit from the back after he caught the pass. Amik Robertson grabs him, and then he was going on the ground, and he got hit from behind also by another Lions defender.
Right.
So I don't know if he had like a neck stinger or something like that, but we'll see. All right, Ken, let's get to the final word segment. I'll give you the honors this week, and obviously you mentioned earlier about something that was not outside of the soccer. The sports that we normally enjoy talking about. I'll give you the words.
Yeah, last night, Rhode Island was shook by, and I'm sure most of you know about it, a mass shooting at Brown University. 10 students were in a science building. They were reviewing material for final exams. This is also final exams week in Brown University in Providence. It's a place I know very well. Thayer Street, which is the main merchant place, which has a lot of shops and restaurants, is nearby there. 10 students were shot. 2 unfortunately lost their lives. They won't be going home for this Christmas season. 8 were injured. 8 were wounded. They were being treated at Rhode Island Hospital. Hopefully they'll be okay. It looks like many of them will be fine. But still, this is something that shook Rhode Island. We don't really have mass shootings here. And it's something that I was really sad about. I was going to watch John Cena's last wrestling match last night, but instead I focused my attention. If you follow me on X or Blue Sky, you notice that I was doing a lot of, coverage of that. It's just awful what happened. Brown University is, of course, an Ivy League school and is, known for the best and brightest. John Kennedy Jr. went there. Emily Watson of, Harry Potter fame went there. A lot of famous people went there, but also it's known for a lot of great departments in the political science, and also its medical, which has grown quite a bit. And also wanted to mention too what happened in Australia last night, overnight, at least here in the United States at night over there, over at Bondi Beach. There was a celebration for Hanukkah. 11 people were shot, lost their lives. Terrible situation. It just goes to show, and again, we hate to see what guns have done. You see what guns do to us. Australia has regulated guns much more heavily than the United States, but still, unfortunately, you still have a situation like that. So, hate to end the show this way, but our thoughts are with everybody who was injured and been shot, lost their lives over the last day or so, because they're not going to go home and see their families in a situation where you're in a holiday season where it's time to get together. Certainly hope that, people can get together and be able to rise from this. And, Brown University has decided to end the fall semester, which I don't blame them. They allow their students to go home. There'll most likely be a vigil tonight in Providence, if it hasn't happened already. Luckily, a person of interest, I won't say suspect, a person of interest was detained in Coventry, which is about 25 miles south of Providence, at a hotel at the Hampton Inn. So hopefully we'll see what happens there. So I don't want to say thoughts and prayers. It's always, it seems hackney to me, but our thoughts are with everybody. Our thoughts are with the families of those who aren't going home, and our thoughts are with the students who got injured, but will be able to go home. But definitely their lives will be much different after last night.
Yes, indeed. My final words is that completely forgot about it yesterday. Fernando Mendoza won the Heisman Trophy, well deserving, and I won't get into the Diego Fabia calling, who finished runner-up, calling voters, F something.
Terrible.
Yeah, sour grapes. Terrible look on the guy. And then I thought he was well deserving. First of all, he spoke in Hispanic. He's a Cuban immigrant, which set off MAGA losers, angry that he spoke in Spanish or he's being bilingual. Give me a break. And second of all, here's Shihan Jayaraja, who happens to be, somebody that I've interviewed several times on my show, when I was doing 101 with him. He was actually the first-time voter for Heisman this year. Congrats to Shihan. It's always a great thing that, minority people like him with great knowledge getting the knowledge, getting rewarded, I should say. So he actually revealed his voting.
Fernando Mendoza has been named the 2025 Heisman Trophy winner, and as a first-time voter.
First of all, play what he had to say here. Let me see here. Can you hear him?
Yeah, not yet, but go ahead and unmute it.
Okay, I apologize there.
Again, as a first-time voter, I view the Heisman very much as a story award. And there were a lot of different types of cases in 2025. There were the cases of statistical excellence, like an Ahmad Hardy or a Jeremiah Love. There was, sort of an out-of-nowhere type incredible story like Drew Messmaker over at North Texas. And so from my perspective, I was trying to find something that sort of split the difference between this idea of stats and impact and winning at the highest level. So let me start number 3 on my ballot, and that was Jacob Rodriguez, linebacker at Texas Tech. I don't think people realize this, but J-Rod was actually great last year as well. He was a big-time stats guy on a defense that just was not very good. I mentioned this idea of the Heisman being a story award, and I think there's a pretty good case that Texas Tech's defense is the story in college football this year. Statistically, he's at over 100 tackles. He's at 7 forced fumbles, leading the nation, 4 interceptions as well. I think it's 8.5 tackles for loss. Like, he really is, as good a defensive prospect as you're ever going to have. Number 2 on my ballot, I had the Heisman winner, Fernando Mendoza. And look, if you want to just have a historic quarterback on a historic team, like, it doesn't have to get a whole lot deeper than that. Certainly, I think it helped matters when they pulled the upset against Ohio State in the Big Ten Championship game. He had that throw that I think people will remember for a long time to beat Penn State on the final play of the final drive. I will say the reason that I ultimately didn't vote him number 1 on my ballot is that, statistically, he's good, not great. Unit-wise, like, Indiana's offense was obviously very, very good, but it was very, very good last year. And especially in the passing game, it wasn't necessarily tremendously different than what it was last season. I think the rewards are more going to be in the college football playoff than in the regular season necessarily. Number 1 on my ballot was Diego Pavia, and let me tell you why. So I've known about Diego Pavia essentially since he transferred from New Mexico Military Institute to New Mexico State. His winning the starting job overlapped with Jerry Kill becoming the head coach over there and Tim Beck becoming the offense coordinator. And just immediately, there was a huge difference impact-wise. At New Mexico State, he was just the kind of playmaker who made things happen with his arm, with his legs. It was really something special to watch. I thought he'd have a chance to make an impact at Vanderbilt, but even I didn't see all of this coming. Last year, he was kind of a fun player who was like good sometimes, but not consistently good. I think that probably the most underrated thing of the 2025 season is that Diego Pavia became an actually good football player. He was one of the national leaders in completion percentage, total offense, passing touchdowns, total touchdowns. Like, he had it all. And like, there's a reason that Clark Lee at Vanderbilt wasn't losing his mind about missing the playoff and finishing number 14. There's no good reason that Vanderbilt should be number 14 in the country and be a 10-win team. Vanderbilt's in great shape with Jared Curtis, the 5-star quarterback, coming into the program. But like, I think that his upside is probably not going to be even doing what Diego Pavia has done this year. So to recap, number 1, I had Diego Pavia from Vanderbilt. Number 2, I had Fernando Mendoza from Indiana. Number 3, I had Jacob Rodriguez from Texas Tech. 2 of those players in the college football playoff, another that we will get to see in a final bowl game. Huge congratulations to Fernando Mendoza, a very deserving winner. I'm very excited to see how all of these winners continue to do in the college football playoff and beyond. And I'm very excited as well for my next opportunity to cast my vote for the Heisman in 2026.
Well, I'm glad that he got that. But I totally disagree with his assessment, but that's okay. We can all, that's what makes us great.
Unfortunately, he got a lot of, nasty stuff, he got here. Let me share this here. It's unfortunate, he get met with racism, stupid racism stuff here. I will try not to. It's unfortunate that he has to be, it sucks, and I'll be glad to, for me and Kent to, call out these morons who has to use the platform to, shit on Sheehan, who is an accomplished college football writer, who is getting an amazing opportunity at the CBS Sports. So it's an amazing story, and Sheehan has nothing to be ashamed of, and I'm really happy that Sheehan gave us an inside look at his voting, and be brave enough to call these disgusting idiots out in the open public. So.
Well, just to wrap up the NFL here, Phillip Rivers, he had an opportunity. He drove Indianapolis to a go-ahead field goal to go up against Seattle 16-15, but Seattle came back, kicked a field goal with 22 seconds left. Rivers tried to drive Indianapolis to a winning field goal, but he threw an interception. But hey, he put his team in a position to win. Indianapolis, I think, is still in the mix for the playoffs. We'll take a look at the We'll take a look at the graphic when it comes up. But right now, Indianapolis, hey, we joked that he was a grandpa. Indianapolis is still in the hunt after the loss today, but still, hey, Phillip Rivers, he acquitted himself quite well, Stephen. And another turnover by Green Bay. Denver scored another touchdown to go ahead 34-26, but another turnover by Green Bay. That is going to be their Achilles heel this season. They've had total issues with that. And right now they're in the midway through the fourth quarter, and they lead still one score game 34-26. But Denver has the ball as they try to run the clock down. And it looks like the Los Angeles Rams, they lead 41-27 on the Detroit Lions. Looks like the Lions will score here, but it's going to be too little too late. So it looks like to me, Detroit's going to be out of the playoffs. So a lot of things happening here in the NFL as we come down to it. And glad we could get 146 people to watch us today.
Absolutely. Thank you, as always, for checking in.
Just coming in. The Chiefs have announced that Patrick Mahomes has a torn ACL. So he's out for the rest of the season. So that's really horrible to see. He had a weak left knee going into the day, but now it's torn ACL. So there's going to be a lot of recovery. He's going to be out probably. Shut him down for the rest of the year anyway. There's nothing for him to play for, but looks to me that Patrick Mahomes won't be coming back until sometime, maybe, I don't know what his recovery time. I'm not going to speculate, but he's going to have surgery. There's no doubt about that.
Boy, an ACL at this juncture, you're looking at a long time rehabbing. It's that might go into the season.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, there's an opportunity he might miss early part of regular season in 2026. That's a huge
interception. Did he throw an interception?
Bo Nix,
like
Bo Nix, okay. It did not. Yeah, it did not go. Thankfully, they're just doing a highlight of there. Yep, it went off the knee, and then the Denver still has the ball. Okay. Well, Ken, listen, thanks for your time. Yeah, Ken, thanks for your time. It was an amazing that you and I were able to do this, and thanks for doing this a little bit earlier because obviously with the Browns and the Bears facing each other in an opportunity like this, we might as well get it out of the way quickly so that at least you'll be able to have a rest of your evening off and then get ready for tomorrow as well. So thank you for doing this, and it would be an honor to do it again next week. And thank you to 147 people who joined us tonight. Have a wonderful evening. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and we'll do this again next week. So we look forward to seeing you next time on the Double A Team live stream. Have a wonderful evening, everybody.
Have a great week in sports.